Today, our conversation is about good governance systems, social contracts, and naked accountability. Talking to my highly principled and globally respected friend, Phil Armstrong, highlights the need more than ever for good governance systems worldwide. Why it's important that we renew, review, or recommit to our social contracts, and the need for naked accountability. What is good governance? Our founding father of corporate governance, Sir Adrian Cadbury, defined governance as a system by which a company is directed and controlled. The Cadbury Committee, set up by the London Stock Exchange, produced a 1992 report, a code of best practice that reformed corporate governance worldwide. There are 12 critical characteristics. Firstly, accountability. Secondly, transparency. Thirdly, participation. And fourth, responsiveness to ensure that multiple stakeholders are included in establishing and enforcing the system. Additional critical characteristics include efficiency, effectiveness, ethical conduct, equity, inclusion, and a system that operates within a rule of law. The Cadbury Code was built on three major foundational pillars. Firstly, that companies and boards operate within boundaries, internal boundaries. The report's recommendations, initial recommendations, were focused on board control, board reporting, and the role of the auditor. The second foundation was that the committee aimed to find a harmony and balance between financial and social goals, between individual and communal objectives to create sustainable success. And the third foundation was the fact that there is a widely respected and accepted set of rules, a social contract. Early philosophers like Socrates in ancient Greece established the notion of a social contract. It is formally defined as an implicit or explicit agreement between members of a society to collaborate for social benefits. For example, the giving up of individual benefits to get protection by the state, like road signs, road rules, which have a collective benefit. Social contract theories became popular in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. Philosophers like French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau used the social contract theory to explain the origin of governments and the duties and obligations of its citizens. The US Constitution is often cited as an explicit example and as part of the American social contract. Friends, our governance systems and social contracts are only as strong as our will and willingness to hold people accountable, all people, including those in power. Broken promises, missed deadlines, and willful bad behavior don't just make other people's lives miserable. They undermine the performance of organizations and institutions by up to 50%. They tarnish personal and corporate reputations and account for most divorces. Holding people accountable, self and others, learning to speak up and speak out, often requires that we make tough decisions. Why are these decisions tough? Well, firstly, there is often a close call between right or wrong. There's no clear black or white. Secondly, we are often forced to choose between what is familiar and known and what is unfamiliar and unknown. And as humans, we gravitate towards familiarity. Thirdly, there is often a high cost of doing the right thing. Doing the right thing comes with significant losses. And finally, there is often a value conflict. You may be a great supporter of democracy, but dislike intensely the immigration policy of the current Democratic Party. But you can learn to toughen up and fall in love with tough decisions by knowing that life calls us out frequently to to make these tough decisions. They're not going to go away. Secondly, nothing lasts forever. And thirdly, making the tough decision is not always the most important. New York Times best-selling author of Crucial Accountability, Joseph Grenny, provides research, insights, and tools. His work reveals that, firstly, there is a silent majority. Most people will not speak up and speak out. Secondly, it's a mass thing. It is not worth their risk. However, he also discovered that when you give people a civic response, an alternative that will help reduce the risk of retribution and retaliation, for example, when people cut into a line and you can give people a response that says, please, sir, you may not have noticed, but we've been waiting in this line for more than 30 minutes. It changes the calculation and more people will speak up and speak out. Despite the fact that many bold institutions uphold the principles of good governance and social contracts, when people fail to hold people to account and wrongdoing is sealed in the walls and halls of secrecy, our governance systems, our governments, and our social contracts implode. But you too can learn to toughen up, to fall in love with tough decisions, and to strengthen our governance systems and social contracts. You too can learn to speak up and speak out. So until next time, remember that leading boldly is about making thoughtful, clear choices. And bold leadership is about taking bold action, just one small step at a time, one step for you. But together, in a world of accountability, naked accountability, and harmony, a giant step for humanity. Take care and take thoughtful, bold action.